Imagine a footballing resume as incredible as this. 3 Champions League titles as one of the most important and impactful players on the club, and not just some bus rider, nearly winning 2 Ballon d'Or awards, being named the best player of your league, winning a major international title for your country, then becoming a manager that helped build one of the strongest footballing dynasties of all time, while winning a 4th Champions League title along the way. One of the best possible careers you could ever have in football, and something that many other professionals today can only dream of having. And that's exactly the type of career that Frank Rijkaard had. He's seen as one of the best footballers of his generation, a member of FIFA 100 and World Soccer's 100 greatest footballers of all time. His game and style of football was so perfect for his position that he could talk back and yell at his manager, the late great Johan Cruyff, and still have his complete and utmost respect. But as Rijkaard progressed further into his career, after what seemed like an emerging potential all-time great player-manager career, he just suddenly disappeared, going completely off the grid with no trace of him left in the footballing world, vanishing almost overnight. So today, we're gonna look at the life story of Frank Rijkaard, how good he was, and just what exactly happened to him. Sometimes going off the grid and leaving no traces can be a smart move, especially on the internet where there are a lot of risks and you're never sure who or where your private information is going to. Well, today's sponsor, Aura, can help you and your information stay safe and disappear from the dangers of the internet. Aura is your all-in-one digital protection app that keeps you safe from fraud, identity theft, protects your online information, and keeps you safe from any online threats. They continuously monitor the dark web looking for your emails, passwords, other private information, and sends alerts fast to your phone and email when they find anything. Aura also gives you real-time alerts on suspicious credit card inquiries, like if someone was opening a loan or credit card in your name. They automatically send requests on your behalf to data brokers to remove your information. They also have a VPN that allows you to stay anonymous online by keeping your browsing history and personal information safe and encrypted. And their antivirus software will block malware and viruses before they can infect your devices. Sometimes it's best to keep a low profile on the internet, especially when it comes to your personal data. And if you sign up right now, Aura will give you a 2-week free trial with my link, so you can see for yourself just how many times Aura finds you or your family's personal info in the dark web. So click the link in the description or go to aura.com/Raymar to protect your family from identity theft. Thanks to Aura for sponsoring this video. When he was only a child, Frank Rijkaard would move with his family from a South American country in the northeast coast called Suriname all the way to the Netherlands, where they would eventually settle in Amsterdam. He was a product solely of street football within the inner cities of the Dutch capital, although there was one player he actually played with his entire childhood, whose family, alongside his, also moved from Suriname to Amsterdam at the same time. No other than fellow footballing legend Ruud Gullit. These two were basically brothers and quickly became infamous in their local streetballing scene as special talents. And at the age of 8, Ajax would bring him into their prestigious youth program, where he would remain and eventually play at the men's team for his very first professional debut. Despite there being multiple players in his position with more experience and at the prime of their physical abilities, at the age of 17, Frank Rijkaard was quickly chosen to start and make his men's team debut, scoring 2 goals in the first league match of the season, making an incredible impression on the Ajax management. His impact as a defensive midfielder, especially at his age, was shocking. Rijkaard was strong and quick, being able to be physical and yet still hold his own against the fastest of players. And what's even more shocking was his stamina, being able to press, keep the best possible tactical position, and make greatly timed tackles and regain possession throughout the entire match. The fact that Rijkaard played with such defensive intensity as a midfielder made him a huge problem for the opposition, because once he did make a good challenge and regain possession, Rijkaard was also a very intelligent passer, barely losing the ball, and his most well-known abilities, his vision, and long-range passing and playmaking. But what made Rijkaard very different from all the other all-time great defensive midfielders is that he had the skill to play as an attacking midfielder and lead the counterattack as well. A completely amazing overall skill set for a defensive mid. So imagine a more agile Virgil van Dijk who could dribble with great touch, lead the counterattack, and score goals by himself. That was Frank Rijkaard. And what's funny is that Rijkaard could genuinely play the same position as Van Dijk. He was that good at defending as well. His ability would greatly help Ajax win back-to-back titles in his first 3 Dutch Cup titles, along with 2 Dutch Golden Shoes, which is basically an award voted for by other footballers for the league, naming the season's best player. All of this by the time he was 24 years old. But on his last season with Ajax, he and club manager, the late great Johan Cruyff, would get into an argument about the direction of the club, which Rijkaard would storm out of practice and vowed to never play under Cruyff again. But despite their lack of agreement, Cruyff had immense respect for Rijkaard. Cruyff has never criticized him as a footballer and has even stated that he believes Rijkaard is a better footballing talent than his lifelong friend and fellow footballing legend, Ruud Gullit. And to hear that from arguably the best Dutch player and one of the greatest footballers of all time is proof of how good Rijkaard was. After his fallout with Ajax, he would ultimately be signed with AC Milan and be an integral piece in their greatest ever squad, who would go on to build a footballing dynasty. As AC Milan was slowly on their way back to being one of the top clubs in the world, Frank Rijkaard would be the missing piece that the club needed to go all the way. Alongside fellow Dutch legends Marco van Basten and Ruud Gullit, adding Rijkaard would make one of the deadliest trios in football history. Van Basten was an extremely lethal goalscorer, Gullit was a midfield maestro and a legend in his own right, and Rijkaard was the defensive juggernaut and secondary playmaker at the holding midfield position. This trio was named the Black Tulip. Yeah, I know, it might sound a little weird, but going up against them was anything but easy. At every part of the pitch, you had a player with generational talent and the best at their position, and the addition of Rijkaard would help AC Milan establish a footballing dynasty, finally winning the European Cup and Italian Super Cup on his first season alone, finishing 3rd in Ballon d'Or voting behind Van Basten and Gullit. Then in the 1988 Euros, Rijkaard would be an integral piece in the Netherlands midfield and defense, helping his country win their first and only international title. And on his second season in Italy, they would win the Italian Super Cup, Intercontinental Cup, and back-to-back European titles, where Rijkaard scored the only goal in the European final against Juventus. Once again, he would finish 3rd in Ballon d'Or voting, this time behind Marco van Basten and another teammate, Italian legend Franco Baresi. All in all, Rijkaard would win 2 Serie A titles, 2 Italian Super Cups, 2 European Super Cups, 2 Intercontinental Cups, 2 European Cups or modern-day Champions League titles, and 1 Serie A Player of the Year award in his 5 seasons with AC Milan. Rijkaard would then return once more to Ajax for the final few years of his career as a footballer. In his first season back, as a 31-year-old, Rijkaard would immediately make an impact by helping Ajax win the Eredivisie title and Dutch Super Cup once more after seasons of failure. But the next season would be by far his most special in all of the nearly 20 years he spent with the club from his youth all the way to the end of his career. In his final year of footballing during the 1994-1995 season, Rijkaard would win back-to-back Eredivisie titles and his 3rd and final Champions League title over his former club, AC Milan. That UCL final would be his last match as a footballer. After such an amazing career, Rijkaard would hang his boots quite prematurely. After all, he was still fit, and there were no particular injuries that would stop him from playing a few years more. But nevertheless, he walked away from football and wouldn't be heard from for the next 3 years. Suddenly, Rijkaard would once again come to the limelight, but this time as a manager for the Netherlands international squad, playing under legendary managers like Johan Cruyff, Arrigo Sacchi, and Louis van Gaal, as well as being one of the best footballers at his position of all time. It would make sense to give him a chance at managing. Many would laugh at his ambitions as they saw him as inexperienced, but against the odds, he managed to help bring the Netherlands to a Euro 2000 semi-final appearance, where they hoped to bring their 2nd ever major international title, but fell a bit short. His coaching style was very aggressive and attack-minded, which is interesting, seeing as how the clubs he's played for were very balanced overall on both ends. But nevertheless, his philosophy was to build a powerful attack and continuously hammering at the opposition defense. Fast forward a couple years to 2003, Rijkaard would follow in his former coach Johan Cruyff's footsteps and manage FC Barcelona. Barca have been in a drought for a couple years now, and Rijkaard's job was to bring them back to glory. His squad of Ronaldinho, Deco, Samuel Eto'o, and the rise of youth players like Xavi, Iniesta, and Messi would be perfect for his football philosophy. Slowly but surely, Barca would start to climb back up to the top of the league standings until they would finally win back-to-back titles in the 2004, 2005, and 2005-2006 La Liga seasons. Rijkaard's Barcelona was also the first time the club had ever won twice at the Santiago Bernabeu, something that even many great managers before him had never managed to do. Then, Barcelona would go on to win the 2005-2006 Champions League title. This would only make him amongst company like Johan Cruyff and Zinedine Zidane as world-class superstar players to ever win the European Cup or Champions League title as both a player and a coach. Rijkaard would eventually be succeeded by Pep Guardiola as Barca's manager after what many reported as a lack of motivation. Rijkaard became more and more relaxed, with players like Ronaldinho sharing in their manager's attitude, gaining weight and not really taking training seriously anymore after such an amazing season. The man had achieved basically everything you could want to achieve as a footballer and a manager. After that, he would go to Turkey and Dubai to coach for a few more years, going completely dark and falling off the face of the footballing world. You would have thought that the way his career was going, that he'd be determined to end his managerial career up there on the likes of Sir Alex Ferguson, Jose Mourinho, Pep Guardiola, and many more. But for Rijkaard, he felt he just wanted to leave football completely and continue on enjoying life. After dedicating so many years of his life to the beautiful game, there's nothing wrong about walking away and focusing on family and other passions of life. After all, the man had won basically everything you could want. The man is truly a ghost, with basically no social media accounts or any other links to footballing ever again. But regardless of how abruptly he ended his footballing and coaching career and basically walked away from everything in the world of football, Frank Rijkaard would go down as one of the greatest ever in his position and one of the best careers in all of football. But that's gonna do it for me today, guys. Let me know what you think about Rijkaard and his career in the comments below, as well as if you have any other video recommendations you want me to do next. If you enjoyed, leave a like. It really is the best way to support the channel and really helps with the algorithm. Lastly, subscribe and turn those notification bells on to see more weekly videos like this. I'm really lucky to have all you guys and your amazing support, and I'll see you in the next one.